What do you think then of blockchain and Web3 technologies?
It's the only logical next step. Which format it's going to be at the end of the day is anyone's best guess, but that's the exciting thing about the age that we're living in right now, because the needs and the procedures are all staying the same. There's nothing changing about that, but it's trimming the fat. It's becoming more reliable, resilient, and the main thing is you're cutting out the middleman, and you're cutting out the insecurities, and the whole basis for blockchain is trustless relationships and efficiency. None of what was being discussed as far as the signals, the communication networks, everything is changing, and it's been around for decades. And now it's just basically getting to the point of the security, the validation, and the verification, mass volume. It's not in any kind of, what's called school project, but it's not a prototype anymore. The proof of concept has been done.
Right.
And now we are already in the implementation, and we heard from many interesting speakers and representatives from companies and outfits who are already moving things with multiple 100,000 vehicle fleets and data that's being done at scale. There's no going back anymore. It's just mainly the job and the passion of everyone at this conference is sharing in their frustration, but also in their passion of helping and supporting the rest of the world to catch up.
Right. Do you see that personally in your job, that the industry is more open to Web3 technologies, or do you think?
You have to lead by example. We're still far away from introducing a company or an industry to these technologies. I came back about 3 weeks ago, and I completely dissolved 100% of my European fiat assets, and now I'm completely 100% on-chain.
Wow.
And it's a cooperation with law firms, with labor law consultancies to see basically, it's a gray zone, and in Germany, one of the legal stipulations is whatever's not forbidden is allowed. I think upwards of 17 to maximum 20% of an employee's salary, base salary, is allowed to be remunerated in cryptocurrency. However, there are also providers from Iceland, for example, with Estonian bank protocols, do the e-money protocol. So it's a Web3 IBAN, international bank account number. So if you send traditional finance to that, it immediately gets converted and the tokens are minted onto your MetaMask wallet or any other wallet that you have in your possession. And then it's yours to do with that as you will. Because legally, you were paid in euros. But just letting your colleagues and your friends know about it, you start getting requests for appointments to the introduction for making your first wallet or making your first trade, etc. And it's just basically the baby steps.
But it is still very complicated though, right? For an average user person.
It's a rabbit hole. The term that I've been hearing a lot lately is the normies, who are not involved with the scene or with the technology. It can be daunting, it can be intimidating, and because even for people who've been doing it for a while, I have been out of it for a few years myself, and now recently, like I said, gotten back in. But dealing with liquidity pools. When you start, because you get paid using this Monerium e-money, which is a Euro E, but then to bridge it to another token, you can lose upwards of 80-90% of the value because one of the parties is a low liquidity pool. And there's no how-to guide available in the world. It's each situation is developing. Whether that player is going to be there in a year, anyone's best guess. That's going to be the way of the world moving forward from now on. And that shouldn't be a danger or a fear, but more of a challenge. It's not an adaptation of the mindset, it's a shift.
How did you come to this?
Me personally, I'm a lifelong technologist. I was one of the first 100 Tesla cars in Germany back in the day. I was one of the first Starlink customers back in the day. Anything and everything that's technology related. I'm a management consultant by day, but I do whatever I can to expose our clients, our customers, and our colleagues to these different worlds, so the next time that they see it or encounter it, it won't be the first time. What
needs to happen for mass adoption, or at least a movement toward it becomes normal?
It's really a question of definition, because at what point do we call it mass adoption? Because you have so many talented people and companies and organizations. You also have a fleet like Tesla. It's going to be the horse carriage to the automobile transition. There are a few who started earlier, who basically help to define the industry, whether it be a BYD, a Tesla, or whoever. I mean, from China, it's a double-digit number of manufacturers now who are doing that. You have Lucid Air, you have all the different e-startups who are all doing vertical integration, but then you also have the legacy manufacturers who are trying to catch up or trying to remain relevant. Whether they accomplish it at the end of the day is anyone's best guess. But I don't think that's too much of a reason for alarm, because if they retain their root values of innovation, they may not even be developing cars anymore.
What would be like broad stroke advice you could give these mobility players?
Well, I mean, if we're speaking mobility exclusively, the data doesn't lie. One of the privileges of being a management consultant is that we specialize in restructuring and turnaround management, and that usually gets activated when a company is having difficulties. And that's the opportune moment, because you're reshuffling the deck anyway. You're reevaluating the company business model, their operations, their supply chains, everything, because before you can do a restructuring concept, you have to analyze the company down to its DNA. And is that DNA still, not only today, but also tomorrow, relevant in what they're doing? And what assets do they have? What internal knowledge do they have? And how can you use that now to adapt to, integrate, or shift to new technologies? And so that's, like I say, and having someone like myself, and I have a few younger colleagues with me at this event as well, that I'm helping to introduce into this whole world, so that we have basically more internal knowledge and ability to look with that eye, look through those glasses when we're looking at the review and the models. That's the beautiful thing about these types of conferences, because it's these like-minded individuals who are passionate about this technology. However, and that was my words to my colleagues a minute ago, after you get past the topic of blockchain, the commonalities stop, because each one is so surgically specific, whether it be transportation, communications, financials, etc. Everyone is down in their deep rabbit hole, but the underlying technology is what combines. And so you have the opportunity to meet people from all industries, from all branches, and just you meet up later, you follow up with each other, and just keep in contact.
Any trends, like lastly, any trends in the mobility you're seeing?
I think what I see as the largest challenge, especially for Europe, are the data centers, processing the data. Because when we start getting to these quantities of data, with the energy crisis, with more and more difficulty with the compute, and you have the United States building with their Stargate program with OpenAI, or with Colossus from XAI down in Memphis, that's doubling in size every couple of months, more or less. Who's going to be processing all this data, and where? Because Europe also has their Data Privacy Act, and they prefer to have it done in Europe. It's going to be a competition for who gets to use it.
Thank you.
Thank you.